Yes. All righty. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to the program. We welcome you from around the world and in the United States. This is the Diana Wright Show live online, and we begin right now. Where do we start? The big news of the day is none other than Senator Chuck Hagel is now our new Secretary of Defense. Of course, because you see, he is indeed a Republican. And even though the Republicans bashed him and Ted Cruz smashed him and tried to destroy his character, he's still the nominee that the president chose, and he is now in. So what are you going to do about it now, Mr. Ted Cruz? And John McCain and Lindsey Graham, they came around. Yeah. John McCain and Lindsey Graham, they came around. So why was all that show? Is this the same show they're doing for us for the sequester? Or is it that it's not really so? I'm not quite sure what to think, because you see, it is getting a little disturbing for us to watch our political officials, elected officials, politicians, whatever name you want to give them, give us a dramatic show. And then they go, and here we are. Chuck Hagel, our new Secretary of Defense. So why did they take all that time, how many weeks, to try to kill the guy's character and his spirit and everything that goes along with that? Shameful. Shameful, shameful, shameful to the Republicans who partook in that scene. So now that Chuck Hagel is the Secretary of Defense, I wonder if some of those senators and some of those people from their districts, their constituents, when they want a military contract and all that kind of stuff that's going to go on, are they going to be calling and saying, oh, Mr. Congressman or Mr. Senator, you need to speak to Chuck Hagel, even though I was so nasty to him? Hello? Is this the government that we want? I don't think so. Our government has become one of revenge. Totally. So they have a grudge against this guy for years, and they've decided to stick it to him because he didn't really want to go to war with Iraq, in Iraq. And he called President Bush the worst president. So, revenge is sweet. Revenge is a destructive thing, and we need to not do that, especially with our politics. Are we running a government of revenge? How shameful. And the conservative Republicans seem to want to destroy our country just to do what? To show how much they hate Barack Obama? But indeed, they're not hating Barack Obama only. They're destroying our country that we all love and supposed to love. So, how long can we operate as a split government filled with hate, divisiveness, a speaker who not only cries, but curses? Because he was so happy and mad today, he just got pissed and he just cursed. They had to bleep it out on the networks. What he said could not be played. You could see his lips moving, so you knew what he said. So is this the government that we really want? Is this a speaker that we really want to depend on our futures with? Are these guys just losing their minds or something? Someone need to rein Washington in. Someone need to rein in Speaker Boehner, Eric Cantor, and Paul Ryan. He's kind of quiet, but he's in the background, I'm sure, stoking the fire. And then there's Mr. Ted Cruz. He seems like he has some kind of axe to grind somewhere against Chuck Hagel. which is totally unfounded from what my research shows. What is his problem? Is he just trying to make a name for himself so everyone can remember how nasty he was? That's not the way to be remembered, Mr. Senator Ted Cruz from Texas. No one wants to be remembered as the nasty guy who tried to kill someone else's character with no proof. We need to get on a slim boat of going to Jesus moment in this government that we have right now, because we are not moving forward. Our economy is not growing. And if it's growing at a snail's pace. And who is responsible for this? Our government, because they are allowing us to sit on the edge of our seats as they do a crisis management every single day, every single month. What is going on in Washington, D.C.? Our forefathers must be spinning around in their graves, not just turning. They must be spinning to see the crap that is going on in Washington. And it's simply shameful. All right? And I just want to remind the Republican Party, the conservative part of the Republican Party, the Tea Partiers in the Republican Party, if you throw love against the wall, it will actually come back to you. But if you simply throw hate against that wall, that hate is coming back to you at some point, someplace in time. It will find you. I promise you that. And Mr. Senator Ted Cruz, I am sure there is some journalist right now, as we speak, working to find your skeleton in your closet. And your day will come for your behavior. And the 41 people who voted against Chuck Hagel today, and they're saying, oh, well, you know, this is revenge for what they did to us. And when what was his name? I can't even think of his name now. The ambassador who was being confirmed, and only 41 Democrats voted against him. So they figure, yes, they'll show them today. A government run on the premise of revenge is dangerous. A government that's run with nothing but hate and obstruction and divisiveness is not good for us in the United States of America. Just like austerity did not work in Europe, it's not going to work here either. And Mr. Boehner needs to stop talking about them spending cuts and talk about the loopholes that he's protecting for the rich. Give it up, Mr. Boehner. It's not only rich people that made you go to Washington and elected you. There are some poor people in your state, I'm positive. I'm sure that the people in your state are not all millionaires that put you in Washington. There were indeed some poor people, some middle-class people, and just maybe some black and some brown people, and some immigrants that must have voted for you. Because you see, white men alone cannot put anyone in office. So check your voters list and see all the people who voted for you, Mr. Boehner and Mr. Cantor and Mr. Paul Ryan and Mr. Ted Cruz. It could not just be wealthy people. There are not enough of them to put you in office. So when are we going to move and find the moment that we change course? Or are we going to end up like Italy, who need a coalition government and they're saying, hell no, because nobody wants to work together. Everybody wants to be the head of the game and the head, the leader, the kingmaker. When do we stop this? It is just disgusting. And as we move from that to just another disgusting thing, before I even get to this credit card thing, I want to get to this thing that I just saw online and just to me is an annoyance. African Queen is a feature that's been done by a magazine called Numero Magazine. Yeah. And African Queen, you would think, would be what? an African American or a black model of some sort, or maybe even a brown one. But no, they're using a white model, 16-year-old model. Andrea Harden is her name. And she just happened to be covered in bronze for a fashion spread called African Queen. And I just really wonder, they could not find one African American or one black model from somewhere to do this spread and this feature being called African Queen? I searched my memory and was wondering, have I met a white African queen? I don't think I ever did. Have you? Welcome once again to the Diana Wright Show live online. We thank you so much for joining us. And as we continue here, we remind you of the telephone number 561-228-1921. That's 561-228-1921. Our email address, dianawrighttv@gmail.com. And of course, we would like you to like us on Facebook, give us the thumbs up, and also tweet us. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can also call that number too. We will accommodate if we find out that you're worthy. How about that? But I was just, taken back in my memory and my thoughts and was trying to really and truly figure out if there is indeed a white African queen. So why did they not just make her be white instead of bronzing her to make her look black? Totally offensive, I think. And that magazine, Numero or Numerio, should be ashamed of themselves. Yeah, it's spelled Numero with an accent at the top of the E. And they're doing a spread. And they just didn't have the time or the fortitude or the thought to find an African queen that is dark-skinned or even brown-skinned. No, that was not acceptable. That is just not cool and should not happen. Because if you think about it, a lot of black models don't get a lot of jobs as their white counterparts. So if indeed you're going to do a feature about African Queen and make her look African, it would have been so much easier. It's just the same way that you have all these people using, trying to speak Jamaican. There's so many Jamaicans out there that could get the job and be authentic, as opposed to you trying to fake some accent, like that Volkswagen ad. And so many other things I see on television and on radio. I myself had to call and write Tom Joyner one day when I listened to his program and they were talking about how Jamaicans come here and they have 3 jobs. And, they're trying to imitate the accent. And so I wrote him and I said, not all Jamaicans speak that way. And not all Jamaicans do have 3 jobs. I know several Jamaicans who only have 1 job. Okay? And several Jamaicans who actually speak very well. So everyone is trying to sound Jamaican. Just hire a Jamaican. If you would like the accent to be authentic, I think that's your best bet. You just have to look for the accent that you want, because there are several accents within the patois language in Jamaica, in case you didn't know. So, also, just wondered about Kim Kardashian, who used to look down on her sister and criticize her. That's her sister Kourtney, who had 2 children out of wedlock. And here we go. Miss Hypocrite Kim is now doing the exact same thing. So is that a double standard or what? Or it's just a sister thing, so you can criticize your sister and then you can go ahead and do the same thing. No, I don't think so. I think Kim would have criticized another person that was not her sister for doing so, even though she is now doing so with her Kanye. Absolutely shameful. Thank you once again, and welcome to the Diana Wright Show live online. If you'd like me to speak at your function, you can give me a call at the same number, 561-228-1921. And what I have to read for you tonight, it's love yourself, love and cherish your own company, only reaching and remembering that God loves you. So, you know the crusade on this program, the Diana Wright Show live online. The crusade that we have is to make sure that every single person on the planet will learn to love themselves. Every day you need to get up, look in the mirror and say, I love me. Because that love is the only love that you're assured of. The other love that you're trying to chase and find sometimes never gets to you. And teach your children to love themselves, because that is also crucial. So as we go about our merry way every single day, we need to just remember who we are. Don't forget, you don't need to be fixed. There's nothing wrong with you. Your nose is not too big. Your eyes are not too dark. Your skin is not too dark. Your hair is not too short or thin. You are you, and you should love you for who you are and how God wonderfully made you. So stop chasing the love that is so elusive, and shower yourself with that love. Because as I listened in my car this afternoon, and I listened to Beres Hammond and Maxi Priest, and if you like reggae music, you do know those names. And there's a song that simply says that. If you throw love against a wall, it will come back to you. But if you throw hate against the wall, it will also come back to you. And that's what I want to remind our Republican friends, or Democratic friends too. Because not all Democrats are perfect, or try to be perfect. So, just keep that in mind. And as we go about our journey, trying to hate people, and trying to stick it to Barack Obama, because you still can't get over the fact that he won the election and he was re-elected again in 2012. Because 2008, you were shocked. Because the morning after, when you woke up, you are like, oh my God, that brother is in the White House? But now, it was not a fluke. Because he actually got re-elected for a second term. And some people are also hopping mad that he's so popular. So, I'm going to go to the phone and hear someone else's thoughts except my own. Hello, good evening. Thanks for calling. You're live and you're on the Diana Wright Show.
Hi, Miss Diana. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Thanks for calling. All right.
I'm tired from walking this afternoon.
Okay. Anything that you that I sparked your interest in that I've spoken about so far?
Well, you know what? I was listening to you, and you were talking about the African Queen.
Yes.
What my intention was to calling about, but
okay. Well, that's a good topic.
I was wondering. Well, yeah, good topic. And I was wondering, because apparently I haven't seen the story or heard about it. You were the first person I hear it from. And I was wondering, is it only black folk people that are Africans? Because, for example, I'm Jamaican.
Mm-hmm.
I'm called Jamaican because I'm from Jamaica.
Uh-huh.
And I'm quite sure it's not only black folks that live in Africa. So,
Mm-hmm.
don't they have white folks in Africa who are Africans?
Well, I, for one, I also in college, I studied African studies, and I studied a lot about Ghana, Nigeria, and lots of other African countries. I have never, in my studies, seen an African queen that was white. Maybe there's one, I don't know, and someone can call and correct us, but I personally have never seen one. I've never seen a white African queen.
Okay, well, that kind of...
Never seen one. So, I don't know, maybe someone out there that's watching will, call and correct us, but personally, I've never seen one. So, anyone who has an African friend can give them a call and find out, are there any African queens? But I believe, though, in looking at the photo I saw online, if it was acceptable for the African queen to be white, there would have been no reason to bronze her so she looks black.
Oh, okay.
That was my problem. Exactly. That was my issue with the photo. Because if they had said African queen, and yes, they know that they're African queens who are white, so leave her white then. Why are you going to bronze her so she looks black?
Oh, okay.
That, to me, that just got my goat.
I got your point. Yeah, but I was just thinking, because I know there are Africans that are white, not all Africans are really black.
Well, you see, when we talk about African queen, as they're mentioning it, they're not kind of talking about the offsprings of people who are from Africa or of African descent or anything like that. The story is flushed against an African queen. So if you're an African queen and you are indeed a white African queen, then you should be left white. There would be no need for you to bronze the person so they can look black.
I agree.
All right.
I agree.
So, and that was my only problem with the story. Not that I don't think and know, based on my own knowledge, I don't know of any white African queens.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Okay.
Well, my reason for really calling is to, kind of pick your brain on how young old do you think a person should start dating? Like,
how old do I think someone should start dating?
No, yeah. Talking about young people. Let's put it that way.
Well, if I begin with my daughter, I think when she finished college. But
that could be age 36.
No.
Depending on when you start college.
No. If you start college about 19, you finish in 4 years, so you're not that old. You're still in your early 20s, okay? Because I truly believe that if you're going to date, well, like Pastor Monroe said that he allows his daughter to date more than one person because that means she's not serious about anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really thought of it that way, but I do believe that an 18-year-old should not be going out with any guy by themselves. A 19-year-old should not either, because hence, that's the reason we have so many teenagers that are pregnant out of wedlock, because their parents are allowing them to go on a date at 19 and, holding hands and then a little kiss here and a little kiss there. And then something else happened and nobody knows how it happened. Until, hello, there's a baby.
My question really derived from the show that you had with Dr. Monroe, Pastor Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was listening and I heard he said that he think his daughter should date more than one. And can I say
he actually said 4. He allows her to date 4 people because he knows that those 4 people, she cannot be hung up on anyone.
I totally agree. With him. When, as a matter of fact, when my son was dating, and he said he was serious about a girl, I told both him and the girl, I said, you guys should try to date other folks. I mean, how are you sure
that this is the one?
How are you sure that this is who you want to spend the rest of your life with when it's the only you're young and this is the only person you've been with, and they know the rules. They're say first people. They know the rules. They know So therefore, if you if you know the rules, then you know how far to go. So the point is, dating, I think, is getting to know somebody.
Yeah.
Getting to know each other to find out if they have the qualities that I want, or can I live with this person for the rest of my life? So dating is just really to get to know each other.
Yeah, but you see, it's a good thing you said dating, and Pastor Monrose did say dating, but I think a lot of young people, when they date, and they date not in a group, but just the 2 of them, things just seem to happen and escalate into something that's not supposed to happen, whether they're in church or they're out of church. It's the same thing. All right?
Oh, okay.
So,
but you know something, the good thing, I'm not sure how I feel about having a group date, but because I can tell you stories of, I was talking to somebody, and somebody that, an older person, much more older than me, an older person, back in the days when they were dating. Right? I don't even know if they had dated.
Did they date in the olden days?
They were allowed to date back in those days. They were in church. They would have an older person.
Right.
If they wanted to go out, let's say they wanted to go out or to meet, they see somebody that they like, and they think, well, we might want to get married to each other. They could not go out on their own. They would have to have a third party there. And even if they're going out for dinner or whatever, they would have to have a third party there. And they, some people are shy. They don't open themselves.
Right.
Because somebody else is there. So, if I'm playing and I'll ask because I want to know. So I'll ask any question about my date. I'll ask my date any question that I want to know, anything I want to know about them.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what question.
Yeah, but I tell you too, go ahead.
Whether it's PG or X-rated, I'll ask because I want to know.
Okay.
But there are some folks that will not ask, and they will not ask. So therefore, they're not going to know. They're going to find out. And these folks got married, and there's certain things about the other party that they don't know about, but yet till they get married. And the marriage didn't last.
Well, you see, I think people are more in love with the occasion of marriage than marriage itself. Because it's the dress and the pomp and pageantry of the whole thing that people are so enthralled with. All right? In my opinion, that's the reason a lot of marriages don't work, and they don't get to the meat of things before they get married. They don't even know the person most of the times, because I actually think there's a show that says I married what or something like that on television. Anyway, the fact that you're talking about the dating with a third party, do you know that Jewish girls, when they're dating, they have to have a chaperone that goes with them on that date? They make themselves scarce, but they're there, and there can be no hand holding, no kissing, no anything until they get married, because I was watching a show one day and I was like totally taken in by this whole thing. And it was a dating company based out of New York, and they were explaining the Jewish culture and how Jewish girls are protected that way. If they're going to a park for a picnic, it has to be, wherever they go for a date has to be an open public place.
Public areas.
Yeah, so they don't go to like movies and stuff like that when they date. Right? And I just thought it was quite interesting. So it's interesting to see that you actually said that that used to happen in the olden days or years ago.
Like people in their, right now in their 70s or even older.
Okay.
That's what used to happen. The church didn't allow them to be together single by themselves. They had to have a chaperone.
Okay, so why is it that the church, as it is right now, is not continuing to do that? Is it just because we're in modern times and, you know?
I do think so, and I do think so, and I mean these young people nowadays probably wouldn't even allow it. They won't, because these 18, as soon as some of our young people get to 18, they want to get out of their parents' house. They don't want to stay.
Well,
because they feel like they're under lock and key.
Yeah. A lot of young people probably don't like their parents that much when it comes to...
No, you know what? They're saying that their parents made their own mistakes, so they would like to make their own mistakes.
No.
And I would, you know, because I make mistakes, I would like for my child not to make the same mistake that I make.
Amen.
So therefore, I'm going to let my child know, well, you know, and then some parents are not open with their kids.
Some parents? You know? I think most parents, they don't even want to mention the word sex. If you say sex, they go crazy.
Right.
You know, it's like, and if you say orgasm, they're like, ooh, you can't talk about that. Trust me.
Some parents are not really open with their children. Tell your child what you've been through.
Well, you also remember what Pastor Monroe said. He said that when they, you know, talk about not having sex and all that kind of stuff, the kids were having oral sex and saying it's not sex when he deals with the young people. That was one of the things he mentioned.
Yeah.
And that is true, because if you remember a few years ago, there was a massive scandalous story of several high school girls who were actually doing oral sex and saying it's not sex. Okay, so when he brought it up, I was like, yes, and it happened right here in Florida. All right, so I mean, we have young people now. They have so much information, and I think they're on information overload. So they figure, okay, I'm not going to listen to anyone. I'm just going to do my own thing. And parents just have to be vigilant. Okay? Totally vigilant. Yes, you can give them some freedom because talking on the phone or whatever. But I don't want to see no texting about no sexual thing or anybody sending any pictures of their JJs to guys and that kind of stuff. It ain't happening in my house. Okay? And I've seen young people, one young woman, she committed suicide because I guess she sent this picture to her boyfriend thinking it was private. And then the boyfriend, who is just a beast, sent it to all his friends. And then when she realized what she did, she committed suicide. It happened right here in the U.S. So I'm not quite sure these young people, what are they thinking?
But you know, we might say that these young folks they have more, they have the internet. We didn't have it back in the days. They have the internet. They have all kind of gadgets to their,
all kind of things to get them in trouble.
And then what?
I said all kind of things to get them in trouble.
Right. Yes, but and to enlighten them as well.
Yes.
So they should be smarter. They should, you know, they should be smarter than we were in our time.
But they're not.
Actually, no. You're right.
They are not.
You know, I was watching a show the other day. I think it was Dr. Phil. And not only young people that are acting stupid these days.
else too.
Yes, I saw this lady on Dr. Smith's show. Yes. And she was dating online.
Oh, okay.
Online dating the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And she was dating online, this guy, and she fell in love. Not seeing the person. Yes, she had a picture.
Oh,
and didn't know,
she fell in love with the picture?
And fell in love on the phone. That woman gave a to this particular person over.
Okay, I'm losing you. Okay. I think I'm losing her signal. Her signal must have been lost. She must have been using her cell phone. But anyway, it's a great discussion because how do you fall in love with a picture of a guy you see online? Ladies and gentlemen, that's a dangerous premise. Your love is not real love. You need to go look in the mirror and love yourself first. And then, here she's calling back. Okay, hello, you're back with us.
Yes, I'm back.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for calling back. Yes, you were talking about the lady on Dr. Phil who fell in love with a picture on the internet with someone she was dating via internet.
Yes.
Okay.
And talk to the person on the phone. She talked to the person on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And they exchange whatever numbers and whatever. But anyway, she said he always have a story, money story, the need of money.
Oh, I see. One of those. Yes.
She liquidate her assets. She liquidate her inheritance.
How do they get to that kind of conversation and they haven't even met?
Yes, but that's what's going on online, Miss Wright.
Wow. I don't know. I maybe I'm just old fashioned, but I want to meet no one online to go nowhere with, even if I was single. Okay? Because I need to see, touch, and feel. I don't even like to shop online most of the times because I need to touch. But a lot of people can do that. But I just don't see how you can fall in love with anyone online. I'm serious. Online dating for me is just not happening.
I understand what you're saying, but when Dr. Phil was talking to this lady,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she said, Dr. Phil said,
Okay, I don't know why you seem like you're calling me on a cell phone and the signal is breaking. So I'm not getting all your words. I'm getting some of your words. So let me just remind people that you're watching the Diana Wright Show live online. We are here and we're talking about various topics. Right now we're talking about crazy women who are dating men online and they are also trying to swindle them out of their money. Okay? Why are you talking about that kind of stuff anyway? You're just dating somebody or you haven't even met them yet. No deep, dark secrets. Okay? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and I hope this will open some folks' eyes because how are you going to be sending money to somebody that you didn't even meet?
Phew. That's a stupid woman. How about that? That's it. I'm sorry. So. She's stupid. Stupid.
I think she's mental. Even if you had watched our show, you would think like I'm thinking. Because Dr. Phil found out that the person was not who the person said the person was.
Okay, well.
And she still believes, and Dr. Phil even called the number. And the guy said, yes, he will come on the show.
Uh-huh.
And the lady was expecting for him to come on the show. And she was adamant about the fact that, no, he's real.
Oh, he's real. Well, I mean, remember the athlete the other day, Mateo or whatever his name is, that football player who got duped? I'm not sure he got duped anyway. I think he's stupid too.
She got duped.
He's duped and stupid.
Well, Dr. Finn had to come just to prove to her that this person was fake. And there were two other guys that came on there and they were duped by females.
They were duped too by females.
Yes, and then the picture that was sent to those two men were a real person. That's if you get the real person. The lady saw her picture and called in, and Dr. Phil got both the mother and the girl and the real person now on the show. And when the men saw, the three men saw her. I mean, she said, I am the real person. That's not who. I am not the one that. I'm not.
Ladies duped online. Okay.
I mean, oh my goodness.
Wow.
To believe, and especially the woman that sent all that money to that person. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, you know, I have this thing. I've actually written quite a few articles, not published, but written them down because I get so angry with women who just seem to be so desperate. Women are just so, can't you just love yourself, be who you are, love your own company, and love being with you, and not just being so desperate to find a guy all the time? Some women believe that they can't even do without a guy. I have friends that, you know, I would approach them and say, why are you always looking for someone? And they'll be like, well, you're married and, you know, I can't do without a guy. I'm like, if I was not married, I would be doing without a guy because I ain't going to go out of my way to find no guy. And then, you know, they counter me because they're just like, oh, well, Diana, you're on TV or you're on radio, so you'll always find guys. And I'm like, no, I don't, because when I leave work, I go home. Because I love my own company. And I love to be with me. Okay? And that's what I'm trying to do with the show here. Because I think one of the major problems that people have and that create bigger problems in the world is because a lot of people are always trying to be someone else. They are never satisfied with who they are. And I am here to tell you that you don't need to be fixed. You are good just the way you are.
You are.
Okay?
I agree with you. And if you can't live with yourself for a while, how are you going to live with somebody else?
Exactly. If you don't like being with you, you think someone else is going to want to be with you?
Exactly.
Absolutely not. You know, so.
Exactly. And that's why some females are married so many times because.
Exactly.
They have to have somebody all the time.
They have to be around someone and be with someone all the time. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to appreciate yourself. All right, I'm hearing about myself now. So I think we need to move to another topic. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate the call, and we ask you and hope that you continue to watch the show.
You're welcome.
All right. Thanks so much for calling. Wonderful. So, ladies, if you're out there and you're trying to date online, take the caller's advice. Do not date someone who's asking you for money. That's a red flag that is big. That should cover up your whole computer. Yeah? Dating online, to me, is something that you have to be very careful about. Because it seems like even if you get married to the person, there are other issues that you're going to find out down the road. All right. All righty. Let's see now. A credit card. Do you know that the credit card companies are planning to not put so much emphasis on credit scores in the future? So if your credit score is low, what they're going to do is the credit card companies are looking at what they're calling non-traditional factors. And those factors just include the value of your house. So if you don't own a house, I'm kind of sorry for you. And whether or not you have a criminal record, how often you change your address. So if you move around a lot, that will affect. What kind of professional license you have, whether you're an engineer or a plumber or a realtor or whatever it is, doctor, lawyer, Indian chief, what kind of license you have. So the creditors, like lenders, like some of those lenders who do mortgages and whatever, they're hoping that combining non-traditional ways and traditional ways in giving you credit will help them to give out more credit cards to more people. So, if you own a house, if you don't move around a lot, if you don't have a criminal record, and if you have a professional license, your life is going to be a little better. Your credit score will no longer be the prominent thing that they think about. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Not everyone owns a house. So if you don't own a house, how does that, wave against you? And if you may have a criminal record, how does that weigh against you? I guess if you have a criminal record, you're out. And how often you move? I don't know. Some people have to move a lot for their jobs. Have you thought about that, Mr. Credit Carder? Mr. Credit Card Company? So I don't see how they're going to, mix non-traditional and traditional. Yes, traditional ways, the credit score is king. So if you have a bad credit score, you just can't get anything. But nowadays, they have all those companies that's trying to trick you to tell you they can clean up your credit. I'm here to tell you that no one really can do that. Because even if they appear to have done it, it comes back someplace, somewhere. Just try buying a house after they tell you they've cleaned up your credit. Because you see, the bank has a system that picks up every single thing you've ever done as far as credit is concerned. And sometimes, even though as a mortgage broker you pull your credit, not everything comes up on it. But when you send that package to the bank, they find your deepest, darkest credit secret that you forgot about because it happened moons and moons of years ago. But they'll find it. The bank has a way of finding it all out. So when you go to these people and they charge you thousands of dollars or $500 or whatever they charge to clean up your credit, it ain't clean. It's only clean for what they're showing you now. Try and get a mortgage. Or even a car loan sometimes. But the mortgage is really the killer. If you try to get a mortgage, I used to do mortgages one time. So that's the reason I know. That bank, they will find things that, people are going, but that's a long time ago. I don't even remember that. How did they remember that? So at this juncture, I'll remind you about something I'd like you to do. I'd like you to save 2 dates. Well, one date first is a date called April 30th. And that's the date that I have assigned for you to know that that will be National I Love Me Day. And it simply means that that day you're going to take time out to love yourself, pamper yourself, take your children, let them know you love them, teach them to love themselves if you haven't done it until we get there. And there's a man in your life, you need to assure him that too. And let him love himself. Yeah? Not just your love, his love for himself. And also, come October 5th, we'd like you to save that date because that date is going to be a special occasion for Save a Life Jamaica Foundation. They're going to have an event to save lives. So the contribution of $20 that you will make is not to come into the whatever they're having. It's to save a life of someone who simply dies because they did not have the money to go to the doctor. So we're going to try to save some lives at Save a Life Jamaica Foundation, headed by Novelet Gale. She's the president, and they're planning something. So they're just asking you to save that date, which is October 5, wherever you are. Anywhere you are around the world, you can contribute. Because you see, Save a Life Jamaica Foundation does have a website. So you can start booking your space from now. I promise it will be a great affair. All right? I'll keep you posted. I'll keep giving you clues and telling you where it's going to be and what's going to happen and all those good stuff. But I'm just asking you to save the date just the way you do if someone is getting married. All right? So save the date for Save a Life Jamaica Foundation, and you will indeed be saving someone else's life. All right. I have some other stuff here. A grocery store owner has been sentenced to 2.5 years in jail. What did he do? He was ripping off the food stamp program to the tune of $844,000. So an agent with the U.S. Department of Agriculture said 48-year-old Mr. Khalid Saleh exchanged food stamps, benefits, for cash and used benefits to buy formula at a discount store, which he then resold for half the price in cash to the Salehs. Now, Khalid was doing this with the help of his wife, and her name is Fatima Saleh, at their store, Sunset Food Market in Illinois. So they got caught. The couple was arrested in May 2011, but was sentenced on Monday, that's this Monday, to go to prison. And that was done by the goodly judge, U.S. District Judge Charles Norgal. So when you're planning to rip off Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, any one of those government agencies, you might just be spending some time in the slammer. So why don't you stop trying to rip other people off? Trying to make a quick buck without working for it? Let the grocery store do its thing. Hope and pray that you sell a lottery ticket and they win the millions, and then the store will get some money. But don't try to rip the government off. And ripping off the poor people too, because they were getting half of what their food stamp was valued in their desperation and in their own stupidity. They were getting half what their food stamp was actually worth from these people. Do we have any heart? Or are we just thinking about getting rich quick? I think of Jesse Jackson Jr. $750,000 that he scammed, him and his wife, because he wanted to remodel his house and buy a Rolex watch and memorabilia of Martin Luther King and Michael Jackson. And who knew? Why don't we just try to live within our means and what we can afford to buy? Stop wanting what someone else has. My grandmother always taught me, when you see someone looking prosperous or having things that you might want, don't envy them, because you never know what they're doing to get it. And maybe what they're doing to get it, you will never, ever, 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 ever want to do to get what they have. So be content and be satisfied. That's one of the things my grandmother taught me. Be content with who you are and be satisfied with what you have until you get more. Because when you are content and satisfied with what you have, God some way find a way to give you much more than you could even imagine. So as I took my journey and I found that I had great success, and I kept thinking about my grandmother who died a little too soon, in my opinion, but her words still linger in my mind, in my brain. And I always remember what she said. Be content. Love who you are. cherish yourself, and be happy. Be kind to others. She was a midwife, you see, and she used to go out and deliver them babies and never get paid. And as a young kid, I was annoyed because she used to drag me with her in the nighttime late to go to these places when my mother sent me to hang out with her for the summer. And yes, she wasn't getting paid. She was just doing it because it's something she loved. She loved delivering babies, and she was willing to do it for free. Despite the fact that it annoyed me, she used to say, "Don't worry, my granddaughter. You will get the blessings. The blessings will come to you." Even though I'm not getting paid right now, the blessings will come to you. And when the people came knocking on our door at 4 a.m. and 2 a.m. in the morning when it's pitch black outside, and she has to grab her little surgical bag and go to their houses, I was hopping mad because I know she wasn't getting paid. But now I realize that the lessons she was trying to teach me were for my own good, my own survival, my own success, and my own journey of life. Because my journey has been rough, has been tragedy filled. Unimaginable things happened to my daughter. But I knew in the back of my mind that my grandmother was not just a church-going woman. She was a Christian, and the best Christian I knew, and I still know, because she was just good. A good, solid human being who died so early. But she gave and she gave and she did and she did. And hence my giving spirit. And my willingness to go wherever I go, and whatever I do it to the best of my ability, because that's who my grandmother was. You notice I didn't say my mother? Because my mother is there and wonderful too, but my grandmother, she was older and wiser. So my plea to young people this evening, listen to your grandparents. They're wise. And they will give you lessons that you will never, ever, ever forget. But those lessons will help you and guide you through your journey of this life that can be so hard and so difficult and filled with tragic circumstances. And sometimes you have to make choices that you really don't want to make, but the sacrifice and the commitment is worth it. So I encourage you this evening, young people and older people and women especially, be not desperate for a man in your life. The right man will come to you, because when you know about my journey, to see how I even got married to my husband, you will say yes. It actually comes to you. And that's the reason I say what I say when I end each show. If you love something, set it free. Whether it's a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or whatever, if it's yours, it's going to come back to you. If it doesn't, it was actually never yours. So just leave the planning and everything to God. Do your part and expect God to do great things for you, because He will. So, am I preaching too much? I guess I am, and it's almost time for me to go. So, I will then leave you with those kind words. And I would remind you to love yourself and to cherish your own company. Enjoy your own company. Play some music, read a book, look at your old pictures, laugh at yourself. Relax. You don't need to be fixed. There's nothing wrong with you. You are a sweet girl, a handsome young man. You have a great future ahead of you. So make use of it. and stop trying to run guys down, young people, because all of my girlfriends who have sons, they're like, Diana, you don't really know what's going on. It's the girls that are doing the calling. Do not call any boy. If he wants to talk to you, let him call you. If he wants to pursue you, allow him to pursue you. Give yourself a break. You're wonderfully made by God. Enjoy the moment. Because as I spoke about earlier today, the folks who went on vacation to Egypt in that hot air balloon excursion never thought that that would be the end. Their end. So as we spread our hate and our jealousy and our envy, come back to loving yourself and remember that God truly loves each and every one of us. And each and every one of us, we're talented, we're loved, we're cherished, and nurture that talent that you have. Bring it out, exercise it, use it, and do good. And for this show, the Diana Wright Show Live Online, I am here to encourage you, to lift you up out of that hole wherever you are, taking you from the blue to the green. And I will keep trying, and I will never give up until I get each and every one of you, old or young, male or female, to love yourself. Because that's where, you see, most of our problems begin. So thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'm Diana Wright. We'll do it the same way tomorrow morning at 10:30, right here, live online. And we just remind you again of my saying, if you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it's yours. If it doesn't, it was never yours. Ciao.